Today, September 23rd, 2020, we are at a pivotal point that we have waited 194 days for no justice for Breonna Taylor. 194 days for no justice. To the family of Breonna Taylor, I am sorry. And I'm sorry that you didn't get the justice that you deserved. That money is not going to bring her back. But I hope that you find some type of peace in this situation because there was no justice served for her. Not for her senseless murder. The cops wasn't even arrested, nor was they charged in regards to her death. Nothing even closely related to her death. Again, I'm sorry.
Welcome, Mom Show.
Oh, thank you, Pooh. Good evening, everybody. This is Lindsay. This is another episode from Journey from Infertility. I want to take a moment to talk about grieving for someone that you do not know. 2020 has been horrible. And I mean beyond horrible. Like, I was already late just dropping this episode, but I knew today was coming, which is why I preface this episode with my apology to Breonna Taylor, because I knew this was going to happen today. I felt it in my spirit, and I felt that there was going to be no justice for this situation. So I paused. I took it in, and I watched the verdict today. I listened to the verdict. I saw the response. And now, as majority of us are getting ready for bed or getting ready to start our night, people are in the streets. Because right now, we have been grieving the loss of this young lady. And not only just her this year. We've lost George Floyd. We've lost our Black Panther. We've had countless deaths this year that it's just taken us out. And this pandemic has put us in a point that we're grieving a lot at this point. And I do mean a lot. And it's not even just the loss of people. There have been loss of family members due to COVID. There have been loss of jobs, loss of homes. We're grieving so much in 2020, and I don't want to repeat it. But I do want to talk about how going through this grieving process of grieving people that we do not know is perfectly normal. We're not crazy. This isn't something out of the norm, but it's something that happens. We are able to grieve people that we do not know. I spent the first half of 2020, I'm pretty sure, just crying my eyes out because with my disorder that I'm having to go through, losing people that I do know, losing people that I don't personally know, but I felt that I had a connection with or I understood what they were going through. It's been hard. And sometimes we can't process that information correctly. Sometimes This loss takes the shape of someone we know so well. And there's an article that I came across, and it says it's off of whatsyourgrief.com. And it says grieving someone you didn't know or hardly knew. Loss takes many shapes. It's tangible and detailed and reflects many of the specific things we miss about that person, like the smell of their favorite detergent, the way that they always sang slightly off key, and the corny jokes they couldn't help but tell. These are the intimate details we grieve when a familiar loved one who occupied a particular space in our life dies. Other times, when a person mourns someone they didn't know as well, loss takes the shape of something a little more abstract and theoretical. They grieve for how the relationship could have been, should have been, or would have been had things been different. In these instances, the loss is very much real, though it may feel hard to define. Grief over the loss of someone you didn't know or hardly knew can occur in 100 different ways, but for our purposes, I think we can split it into two main categories. The first category is when someone grieves a person who they were aware of, but who they were not connected to in any way, such as when a celebrity dies. If this is a type of loss that brought you here, head over to this article for a more in-depth, and they show 9 reasons it's not crazy to grieve a celebrity death, just like Kobe and Gianna. That took a lot of us out earlier this year because Kobe was an icon. So I can definitely understand how that affects us in a way, especially for us to grieve people that we did not know. It says we want to focus on grief experience over someone connected to you, usually by relation who has been absent or who died before you had the chance to get to know them. Examples include individuals who died when you were very young, relatives who have been out of the picture, and people who you have lost touch with for long periods. What they call it is disenfranchised grief. So you can go ahead and look it up. And, they say disenfranchised grief happens when someone experiences a loss that those in their family, friends group, community, or broader society are reluctant to validate or support. Unfortunately, unless you've experienced grief over someone you hardly knew yourself, it can be challenging to understand because it's not immediately obvious what specifically there is to grieve. It's hard. And it's just so hard to put into words right now. Like, it hurts to know that this woman was asleep in her home. Someone kicks in your door and guns just start blazing. I haven't been able to shake this feeling like all day. And I really didn't even want to get into this, but, getting on, Instagram, getting on Facebook and seeing, people taking to the streets, and then how Louisville just shut the city down, and they've blocked off parking decks, they've boarded up windows, they made all the police come to work just to defend a city that did not defend this young woman. How do you grieve someone that you don't know? How do you grieve someone that you don't know? How do you comfort other people in this? Because just like the article said, it's complex to the point that it takes on so many forms that you don't know what to do. And I think the chaos that people are seeing, even just saying that they're going out to protest, these people don't know what to do. And then now there's no justice for her. There'll never be justice for her. But you want us to just sit back and be okay with it. How are we supposed to be okay? How are we supposed to be okay in a world where most of us as African Americans already have the short end of the stick? My babies right now are too young to understand, but I have an 18-year-old bonus daughter who I would have to try to explain this to. And she knows what's going on, but she's about to graduate next year. She's going to be going off to college and being on her own. And how am I supposed to explain how to protect herself just for being her? And that could be for anybody, but more so, we used to worry about just sitting our sons down. But now we even also have to worry about our daughters. And how do you explain this to them without putting fear in them? But the thing about it is that that's all we have to go on right now is that fear of what's going to happen to my child. We have to instill in them these things like make sure you check in, make sure that you're being respectful. But even in this case, she was asleep in her home. She was asleep in her home. She had no way to defend herself from the beginning. And if I'm startled and awakened out of my sleep to men kicking in my door, the first thing I would do is shoot. I would shoot. If I had no recollection of what's going on, my first instinct is to protect myself and my family. But even that is a problem because now we don't know what to do. Because I don't want to say just lay down and die, but that's how that makes us feel. That's how that makes me feel is that I won't be able to ever defend myself in any situation without me being wrong. We are being beat up by the police. We are being killed by the police. And then right now, even with this grief, we're being conditioned to accept it and watch it unfold for us to be let down once again. I don't want to keep being a statistic. I don't want to keep hurting. I don't want to keep grieving. I don't want to keep crying because of what's going on in the world. I want change. We want change. And as many allies that we have going on right now that are the Black Lives Matter movement has turned into something way against of what it was actually supposed to be. It's never like we saying Black lives are the only ones that matter. We're trying to get people to understand that Black lives matter too. TOO, which means Black lives matter also. I don't want to continue to be conditioned to make me feel like I don't matter in a world where we are still considered a minority, but people keep making us feel like we're the majority. And majority of us are hurting, and majority of us are getting hurt. I just hope that we can find a way to comfort each other in this time and start making a change. I want people to understand that people like the Attorney General in Kentucky is somebody that us as a people vote for. We have the ability to change our community. You start researching these politicians. Stop looking at just, oh, well, I'm not going to go vote because it's not going to change anything anyway. It will. We as a people have the ability to change who represents us as a people. We have the ability to control our sheriff, the ability to change our education board members. We have the ability to change our city mayors, city council. We have a wide variety of things that we change in our community that then reflect us in the higher ups. So my plea today in me grieving this young woman and everybody who we have lost in regards to this social injustice is that we start going out to these polls and we start actually voting. Get out to your polls, get out in your community and see what's going on. Go do your census. That's what we have control over. Take over for us. Start getting people who represent us. Go check your voter registration status in your state. Check with your Secretary of State on their website. I live in Georgia, so Georgia has a full My Voter page. If you go to the Secretary of State website, look up the My Voter page. It's the Georgia MVP. Check your status. They have purged a lot of people out of the system. Check your polling locations because a lot of them have closed due to lack of poll workers, lack of access. Check your polling areas. If you can, get your absentee ballot. Don't wait until election day. You have until October 5th to register to vote. You have until October the 5th in Georgia to register to vote. If you have a Facebook, if you need information, go to the voter information center that's on Facebook and it will give you all the information that you need. It will tell you how to register. It will tell you how to get an absentee ballot. It'll tell you to help you locate or send you to the website for your state to get your polling information. We can control our vote. We can control our communities, and that's where we have the most power. We can control our senators and our representatives. We can control that. What we can control will then control up top. So let's make it an effort to get out, take people out, help people register to vote, help get them to the polls, get your absentee ballot in before the election day, because it still will be counted if it is date marked for the day of the election. Check your city and your state to see if there are any absentee ballot boxes. You can drop them off there. You can drop it off at your voter headquarters in your county. Make sure that we get out and vote, and let's change some things for the better. If 2020 hasn't showed us anything, it shows that there is no remorse for us. We gotta get out and do better. We've been doing so many things. Everybody's on their entrepreneur kick. Everybody's starting their podcast. Everybody's starting their YouTube channel. Everybody's starting their business and getting their feet off the ground. Let this be another mark for 2020 that we turn it around for the better. I love you guys. If nobody told you today that they love you, I love you. So you can definitely reach out to me on social media. You can follow me on Instagram, Lindsay_JFI, and that is for Journey from Infertility. Y'all have a good night. Peace.